Hello YouTube, it's DarthSteve333 here again with another pickups video. Finally, you might say, after a fairly long break, I'm back, so to speak. My wife, I'm very happy to say, has got a new job. She started a couple of weeks ago, so we are on the road to recovery, so to speak, and that's the third time I've said that particular phrase already, so you can tell I'm well out of practice with making videos, so I do apologise. What we've got here is an assortment of things picked up over, well, the time since my last proper video, which was, I think, mid-January, so what is it now? It's nearly the end of April. So yeah, I've picked things up in bits and pieces really over that time. Obviously being very careful with money, down to one wage, not really very fantastic. So yeah, pickings have been well, not so much slim. I've still found some things, but obviously I've had to ensure I'm not spending money that I can't afford. So anyway, let's crack on. First, a quick progress update. If you recall, in my last video, I picked up a couple of Super Nintendos. Both worked and I was going to clean them up. The first of those I managed to do a few weeks ago now, and here it is. As you might be able to tell, it's looking a heck of a lot better. Nice and clean, lovely and sparkling. This is the one with the normal label, if you like, on the back. There it is. The other one you may be interested to hear, I finally cracked open about a week or so back, and after checking it, as suggested by HP Zeta, whose channel you really should watch, is a chap over in South Africa. Does some good videos. He sort of pointed me in the direction of how to open up a Wii. Basically, I think I might have mentioned this in the past, but apparently a lot of the reasons Wii's are no longer working is because they've got things shoved in the disc slot by young kids. So yeah, I sort of discovered his channel that way and subbed, and enjoy watching his videos. So hello, go and watch HP Zeta's channel. It's recommended. Anyway, so yeah, as suggested by him in the comments after my last video, he said I ought to crack them open and have a look and see if they're the one chip version. And lo and behold, the other one, which is yet to be cleaned up, is in fact a one chip SNES. So well pleased with that. Here comes my cat. That's the black cat, Merlin, who is about as un-Merlin like as you can get. He's after food, only 2 hours early. His feeding time isn't until 8 o'clock, and as you might, well, you probably won't be able to tell, the clock's up there, it's 6 o'clock in the evening. So yeah, he's way too early. Right, okay, so that's the update out of the way. Where shall I begin? Oh, probably first things first. I got a new phone contract, which you might find very dull, but I went for one of these deals where you could get a free gift, because I thought that's the only way I'm going to get my hands on one of these anytime soon. I caved. I got a Switch. The only game I've got for it so far is Mario Odyssey, which was probably the game which persuaded me that I would get the system in the end at one point or another. I played it at Eurogamer last year, or EGX as they call it these days, and really enjoyed it. I played it with a big smile on my face, and I thought I'll have to get that. So anyway, I got one of these deals which gives you a free gift, as well as a decent phone, which this is being filmed on at the moment. So yeah, very pleased. So where shall I start? Everything's sort of miscellaneous, and there might be some things that I actually put in the last video. So I'll try and get those out of the way first. I think I've already shown you that. So let's put that over there. So I got from the recycle centre some GameCube games, £1 each, Luigi's Mansion, oops, Star Fox Adventures, Sonic Adventure Battle 2. I think I might have mentioned these because this is in better condition than my version, which has got a bit of a shabby label. And Mario Party 4. Again, I'm getting the sneaking suspicion that I'm retreading old ground, so apologies if you've seen these before. Final Fantasy 11 2007 edition. I picked that up because I like the Final Fantasy. Right, other things which I might have shown you before. There's a market where I am, and there's a game stall on there, and these caught my eye first. Some old Spectrum games. We've got Roadrunner. These were, I think, 30p each, or no, 50p each, or 3 for £1, or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, Roadrunner. I'm a big fan of Wile E. Coyote. I think those cartoons are some of the funniest things you'll ever see. The other things were the Untouchables. Good game. And Rogue Trooper. This is pre-Rebellion Software Rogue Trooper as well. This is the very, very old Spectrum version, which I remember having back in the day, and it was very good. And then while I was there, I noticed this. Again, apologies if I've shown you this already, but this is a Genesis game, but I checked up before I got this. I think it was 18 quid, which I thought was a bit of a bargain, having sort of walked away and then thought, right, is that a decent price for this game? And I think it is. It's Hellfire, and in fact, let's take Zombies out. Let's pop this in. As you might be able to see, I've got my 32X set up. Bit of an amusing thing to do with that. I've got everything I need to get it to work, including 3 power cables, which I'm going to have to get one of those multi-power adapters, because there's just too much in the way of Mega Drive power supply. So you can get these cables which sort of consolidate all 3 connections into one lead, which I think I've got to get, really. So as you can see, Genesis version works, so very pleased with that. Right, so what should I show you next? Like I say, a bit of an assortment, really. Couple of things. This is my old copy of Little Big Planet 2, which I got for £2. I got the sort of non-platinum version, so I'm swapping this out. I'm going to trade it in and sort of get my money back. So I do like to get the black label versions if I can. Lord of the Rings War in the North, again £2. Happy with that. That's for the PS3, obviously. I think these were £1 each. Stuntman Ignition, which I've heard good things about. I think it's meant to be quite hard when you get to a certain point. I've not played it yet, as you can tell, but yeah, it's meant to be quite decent. So I thought for £1 or £1.50, that's not too bad. Lego Lord of the Rings, which I do tend to pick up the Lego games, and this, which I found in a charity shop, the very last place that I expect to find it, really. It's again, I can't remember if I've actually mentioned this before, but it is it's a Region 3 for the PlayStation 3. It's Demon's Souls, but as you can see, it's English and Chinese version. Now, I just thought I'd pick that up because basically I remember this being mentioned on a podcast I listened to, the Midlife Gamer podcast. Many years ago now, probably best part of 10 years ago. I mean, I've been working where I am now for over 8 years. Prior to that, I was working at somewhere which I hated every second of. And what I used to do to get through the day was I'd go out to my car, stick the podcast on and listen to these guys, Matt and Darren, talking about games. And one of their big favourites at the time, before Dark Souls, Demon's Souls ever sort of became big over here, apologies for the cat yowling, Go on, mate. Go on. You're not getting fed yet. Yeah, sorry, I've lost me thread there. Yeah, way before it got big over here, they played somehow a copy of Demon's Souls. I think they got it off PlayStation Network, perhaps, or PlayStation Store, or whatever it was called back then. But they really were singing its praises. Melly, go away. Go on. Sorry about this. Never worked with children or animals, especially this animal. He's going, can I eat any of this? Right, I might, if he keeps on, I might actually go and banish him to another room. But yes, sorry, cracking on. Yeah, so listening to those guys talk about that was quite interesting. So I thought, yeah, I'll get that. You know, I know I've got the UK PAL version, but yeah, why not? So, I might have mentioned this before. I got this from Computer Exchange with some credits I'd built up, and that is one of my favourite games ever. It's Doom, but for the Saturn. Talking of which, talking of Doom, John Romero is going to be at Revival again this year, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm actually going to try this time and remember to take along something Doom related, one of my copies, either PC or PlayStation, or maybe Saturn or Jaguar Doom along with me for him to sign. He was a cracking chap. He had time for everyone. The last time I saw him at Revival about 3 years ago now at Wolverhampton. Brilliant. He had time for everyone, which was amazing. Thought that was really good. Anyway, right, I'm waffling again. So yeah, more miscellaneous pickups. These I got at the car boot a couple of weeks ago. My first one really, my first proper car boot of the year, at least outdoors anyway. One of these guys with a great amount of everything but not really anything. But I saw these and I sort of ummed and ahed, and they were like 3 or 4 for £1. So I picked them up. Mainly demo discs, but there's some games on here that I haven't got. But they're for the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation, and I thought, why not? You know, if I can't get the actual games themselves, and there's a few valuable ones in here, or you know, the valuable, the full versions are pretty valuable and expensive. So you know, it might be some time, if ever, that I actually get them. So at least for the meantime, I can give them a go on the demo version and sort of see what all the fuss is about. So anyway, I'll crack through these quickly. Vigilantscape, which says it's a demo, but it might be a full version. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll give that a go. I'll try and pick out anything of particular interest. I've got this one, Legacy of Kain, obviously the full version. In Cold Blood, Driver 2, X-Men Mutant Academy, I've got most of them. This is one that I could have picked up a couple of years ago and didn't, and regret it. It's Vib Ribbon, as well as Destruction Derby Raw and Star Trek Invasion. Ridge Racer Type 4. Most of the rest of that I've got. Here's one that I doubt I'll get anytime soon. Tombi, or Tombi 2. But I've never played them. See what all the fuss is about there, whether it's one of these ones that is good or whether it's just one that a large value seems to become attached to. Roll Cage Stage 2, Le Mans 24 Hour, Colony Wars Red Sun, got most of those. Another one here, I actually remember having this demo disc back in the day. Amongst the demos on here is a playable demo of Cooler World, which I seem to remember playing a bit briefly. Basically a beach ball that rolls around in a 3D world. Now there's a friend of mine, his wife, said, oh, you haven't got that, have you? And I said, sadly not. But at least I can lend her that and she can have a go on the demo if she wants. This one's Red Alert. I got this because it's Metal Gear Solid. What else? Populous at the beginning, but amongst the demos in here you've got Grand Stream Saga, which is one that I've never played, never even so much as played a demo of. Oh no, I did get that. I got that not so long back. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking The Legend of Dragoon. Sorry. Here's some more. Sheepdog and Wolf, which has got that's not Wile E. Coyote, although you might be forgiven for thinking so. That's Ralph Wolf, apparently. He's Wile E. Coyote's cousin. And Tomb Raider 3 amongst the demos on here is one that I didn't get until very recently. I think I've showed you this in my last video. If I haven't, then I do apologise, but it is Future Cop LAPD. So yeah, they cost me what, £2-3 in total. This where did I see this? This was weekend, not just gone, the one before. The little local car boot where there's generally not a lot of everything. Although recently I found a few GameCube AV cables, which is quite useful. But yeah, I found this Hot Wheels Extreme Racing case. No instructions, no Hot Wheels Extreme Racing, but there are some other games in here. Porsche Challenge, Driver, McDonald's Demo 01, and oddly enough, after finding a copy the other week, after looking for it for 4 or 5 years, Loaded. Again, it looks like a platinum. Well, it is a platinum, but goes to show, doesn't it? It's like the buses. You wait for one for ages, and then 2 turn up practically at once. What else? This I got for £1. I do have it on the Xbox One, but I couldn't resist it. See what it's like on the old Xbox. Couple of what were these? These were £2 each. Again from the car boot. PQ, Practical Intelligence Quotient, which I've not played but I've heard good things about, and there's Grip Shift, which I've yet to tidy up the case for, same as the other one. These are both complete and in good nick, so yeah, I've seen this rated quite well. So oddly enough, if you have a look on the back here, what does that remind you of? Rocket League, perhaps? Interesting. So yeah, they were £2 each, so I was happy to pick them up. These were £1 each. I think these were from the Recycle Centre. Everybody's Golf and Need for Speed Underground Rivals. I can never remember which of those I've actually got, which I haven't got. So I inevitably end up sort of picking up just in case. I need to get my PSP collection all in one place and sort of tot up what I've got at doubles, and go from there. So throw a quick film in here. I got this pre-ordered. As you can see, I haven't watched it yet. It's Star Wars The Last Jedi in 3D. I will watch it. This is probably my least favourite Star Wars film. Now, I'm not going to go all internet crybaby about it. I can understand why certain decisions recasting were made. Some of the story I struggled with, and I come to the conclusion a few weeks ago, after much thought, because I did go to the pictures to see it twice. There's no what's the word? No goosebumps moment, no hairs on the back of your neck or your arm. No moment like that. It sort of, you know, it progressed. The effects were good. The story was interesting in places. Other bits, like I say, I was not entirely sure about. It was, you know, I've certainly seen a lot worse, and I can understand why, you know, older characters aren't required so much anymore. They're all getting on. I mean, even Mark Hamill now is sort of over 60. and as poor old Carrie Fisher showed us, you know, people can sort of disappear off this mortal coil without any warning, really. So, you know, I can see them having paid so much for the franchise, so to speak, why they might decide they need to get new cast in place before their opportunity disappears. So anyway, yeah, I will watch that at some point, but I think out of the 3 recent Disney-fied Star Wars films, I think Rogue One on reflection is my favourite, and I know largely it's a story that actually doesn't really need to be told, but I felt it more or most closely captured the feel of the original Star Wars, which, as you can see, and obviously by my name, I'm a big fan of. I actually rate that more highly, ever so slightly, than Empire Strikes Back, but that's a whole nother conversation, and this is a gaming video, so yeah, I'll get off that topic. So, what shall I show you next? A couple of things that I picked up. Went to Toys R Us to see what was happening there. Obviously, sad news, people losing their jobs and so on. We were actually in there to get some presents for my niece, or one of my nieces, and I sort of had a look what was in there. I managed to pick this up for probably no more, or sorry, no less than buying it new in a shop, but I sort of was swayed because it was at the till. It's Gears of War Ultimate Edition. I've got it on 360, and I've got a digital download of it as well when I got Gears 4. But I thought, yeah, why not? And the other thing I got, which I'd actually been looking for in the shops for ages, but didn't seem to find, I don't know whether the limited stock of it or what, but I got Metroid Samus Returns. So yeah, that was reduced a little bit. Again, probably not much cheaper than buying it new, but then I couldn't find it anywhere else, so I was quite happy to find that. A couple of more miscellaneous bits. Another random £1 game, World Rally Championship, or WRC FIA World Rally Championship for the 360. I like rally games, I like racing games of most descriptions. What do we got here? Oh yeah, some more bits and bobs. I'm sure I've shown you these. I'll flick through them really quick. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Master System. These were returning to car boot a few weeks ago. Minecraft Story Mode. The disc is fairly scratched on that. I think this was 50p, and I find it very difficult to resist buying it if I see it. Knights of the Old Republic 2 for the PC. These, yes, these were with the other GameCube games that I got for £1 each. And here it says Pokemon Colosseum, but in the case we've got Pokemon Colosseum manual, Pokemon Colosseum points card, Pokemon box, and then I've got a Pokemon box disc, and oddly, Mario Party 5 disc. So unusual. Star Wars Rogue Leader, but with Mario Sunshine in there. Disc is in decent nick. Obviously I checked to see if there was like the other boxes for those things, and there wasn't, so there was in this Spider-Man, oops, complete, and Resident Evil 0, and again that's complete. There we go. Now, having mentioned that, I found these at, again, this was the Recycle Centre a couple of weeks later. These were £1 each again. Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Now this is a PlayStation 2 game, and it's the one that comes, or supposed to come with the Devil May Cry demo. It doesn't, but it has got the Resident Evil game in there. I might nab the case on this for something else, to be decided. And then I saw another copy of Resident Evil Zero. Now this one has only the one disc, which is disc 2, but it is another double case. So again, that was cheap, and I thought, why not? I think the one disc that is in there is in decent nick. Another miscellaneous bit. This is for the PlayStation 2. As you can see, it cost me $2.99. I got this as much as a curiosity as anything. It's got the game and a USB headset. Now, I imagine the online service for using that is, well, long gone now. I'm not sure if there's any sort of a PS2 online private server, similar to how the Dreamcast is. You know, how people have gone online with the Dreamcast, but I thought, why not? This I found in one of those random buckets of anything. I just saw it peeping out, just saw that. Nothing particularly fantastic, but I've had a little go on it. It's quite good fun. It's F-22 Interceptor. I did used to like flight simulators. It goes to show how far we've come when you go into this, and it's sort of very rudimentary, sort of 3D models, but you know, you can still play it. Right, another couple of random bits. This was £1 somewhere. Uncharted 3 promo disc. Always pick those up just because they're a curiosity, really. An extension cable for a PlayStation joypad. This was quite useful. This was actually £1. Whether I actually take my Switch anywhere with me, because I am very paranoid about taking anything of that nature out and about with me, but it is a premium console case and a cleaning cloth, and as you can see, that's how it looks on the back. That was £1. I saw it, I was like, oh, well, why not? It'd be rude not to. What next? I don't think I've showed you this. At a car boot a few weeks ago, before my wife's most recent job issue, I saw this and I thought, I'm never going to find one of these as cheap as this again. I got it for 15 quid. It was missing a scope, which I've since picked up one of, oddly enough, at another car boot a few weeks ago for £1. So I got, and this hopefully will come in useful for helping repair stuff. Like I've got a couple of Amigas that need some attention, and I've watched people who know what they're doing use these to try and sort of find out the cause of particular problems. So, and it, you know, from what I've seen, these are always very expensive. So this was £15. It seems to work from my my knowledge of practically nil, but I do intend to try and learn a bit about it. It is an oscilloscope. Yeah, like I say, this was, I think he wanted 20 quid for it. It only got one of the two probes. He went and had a look for it, couldn't find it, so he knocked it down for 15, and I thought I'm never going to get one cheaper than that. Not something I intended to get when I went out that morning, but I was happy with it nevertheless. Brings me down to the last few things. Again, I can't remember if I've mentioned these two before. One happy story, one not quite so happy. Got that for £2. It looks really pretty much mint, apart from the missing CGL badge or Gakken badge down there. In this instance, CGL, Computer Games Limited. The back's fine. No signs of corrosion in the battery compartment. It doesn't power up. I used to have this. In fact, I still have my version, which also doesn't work anymore, and I was absolutely gutted. I used to spend hours on this game. So I bought this. I thought, yes, I can play Puck Monster again. Sadly not. Although I suppose I do have one that I can tinker with and try and get working now without fear of destroying my original. So that was very sad. However, the day after, I went to another car boot, the bigger one, saw this, asked if it worked, turned it on, found out it did. It is. Now, can you see? Yeah, there we go. It's Scramble. This cost me 20 quid and I was very happy to pay it. This is one of the two systems or handheld or tabletop games that my two cousins had. My cousin Rob had this one and my cousin Christine had Astro Wars, which is also one that my wife used to have. I'd love to get hold of a working version, or working one of those as well, because I have a non-functional one of those these days, which again I need to try and repair. Right, what next? This I got from the car boot the other week. It's one that I do have on download, but I prefer physical copies, so I got Uncharted Golden Abyss. I think that was 12 quid. I actually got Gravity Rush at the same time as well, not remembering that I'd actually got a physical copy of Gravity Rush. Similar situation, I got it on download, but I'd much rather, especially with the Vita and the constant memory cards for those things, the thing that killed it, it's better to have the physical game if you can, and then you only need the memory card to save your game on, if that even. So yeah, excuse me, little slurp of me tea. So yeah, I got that. This again is from the car boot a couple of weeks ago. You can see how much I paid for this. I didn't knock him down because it's in decent nick. It is for the Mega Drive. It is Mutant League Football. What we'll do is, I haven't actually tested this out yet, so hopefully it will work. There we go. So let's have that running for a minute. So yeah, that was £10. Again, I've heard good things about it. Never played it before. I thought that was a decent price. So there we go. Good stuff. Two recent games. I watched some gameplays of this and decided to leap in. It looked like fun, and it's got me back into sort of committing to an open world type game. It's Far Cry 5. Very good fun. I spent a good few hours playing that a few nights ago, and then when I'd finished sort of progressing the story or doing side missions, I just piddled around for a bit, trying to shoot down a helicopter with a pistol and a bow and arrow, and trying to ambush convoys and stuff. It's good fun and good for mucking about in, really. And then on a sort of different note, I've been sort of looking forward to this for a while, as had my wife. I played a demo of this at Eurogamer last year. It's Ni no Kuni 2, which obviously, as you can see, I haven't taken the cellophane off yet. I'm going to try and avoid doing that until I've finished Far Cry 5, or at least the main storyline. So that brings us almost to the end. A couple more random PSP games. These were again £1 each. One that I always see and have never bought up until now, 300, March to Glory. There you go. And The Con, which is one I'd not seen before, so I thought, oh, I'll give that a go. As you can see, that's complete. And then two that I traded in some swaps against, basically building up a bit of credit at Computer Exchange. And someone with some good taste in PSP games has obviously taken their collection in there recently, this particular branch. First one, I do have this for the Wii, but it's nice to be able to just pick up my PSP and play it. That is Metal Slug Anthology, and as you can see, the disc isn't in there, it's in one of the PSPs. I was playing it last night. And this one I was very pleased to get because I picked up the collector's edition of this a few weeks ago, and it was basically all complete bar the disc. I think that's my wife just come in, so it's time for me to finish off. It is the third birthday, so as you can see, it does come with a manual, and obviously the disc does appear to be an American disc, but that doesn't really bother me. It completes the sort of like the limited edition box that I've got, so I'm quite happy with that. That leads me to the last thing really, and this is again something that I used some Computer Exchange or CEX credit to get, and I saw this, missed out on one probably about a year or so back now, unboxed I think, but yeah, I saw this in the window and I thought, well, I'm going to go back and get that, so I took exactly the right amount to trade in against it, and it is Game Boy Player, which as you can see isn't in there anymore. It's attached to my Game Boy. So yeah, very pleased to get that. I've only been looking for one of them for years as well, so although it's been a bit of a challenging year so far, I have got me a Game Boy Player. I've got my 32X and my Switch. So yeah, that pretty much is that. I'm sure there's probably bits I've missed and bits that I might have traded in the meantime, but yeah, nice to be making a video again. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope I haven't droned on too much. I probably have, actually, looking at the time. But yeah, good to be back. Good to report back that my wife is back in a job. So that's very pleasing. Light at the end of the tunnel. Thanks to everyone that's given us best wishes for finding a job quickly. It's nice to know that there's people out there rooting for you. So thanks again for that. One thing I should probably mention is I seem to have passed a couple of, or at least reached a couple of milestones in the last few days. I've now got a whopping 100 subscribers, which is great. I never thought I'd get 10 when I started this. So yeah, thank you to everyone that's subscribed and watches my videos. And also practically, well, in the last sort of 24 hours or so, I've actually sort of just passed 10,000 views, which is largely down to my new 3DS XL unboxing video, the Super Nintendo styled one. I think that's, at the last count, probably got 3 times as many views as all the rest of my videos put together, but yeah, it's still quite a nice milestone to sort of reach. So anyway, I don't think I'm going to what's the word? I'm not going to worry PewDie, I don't know how you say his name even, or any of those guys anytime soon. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and hopefully there won't be such a big break until the next video. This is Darth Steve 333 signing off. Bye bye.